Today we're going to deep dive the delegation matrix, the roles and responsibilities chart, and what all that looks like. So foundation builder, class number one, thing number one, we need to determine who is responsible for what. And so a lot of times when I go into companies, it's ambiguous. Sometimes it's just one or two people, sometimes it's a group of 12 people, and everybody kind of knows that they're supposed to be doing a certain function, but it's not really optimized. It's not as effective as I think it could be. So first thing that we do is we do the delegation matrix. And so here's what the delegation matrix is. First thing that I have people do is write down all the things that they are responsible for, or all the things that they do. Now, if you're the business owner, I'm sure you have a very long list. You have all the different things that you do, all the different responsibilities, because you wear all the hats. And even as you hire people, a lot of times that you're still wearing those hats, and because you haven't really given the responsibility away, right? You're still holding on to the responsibility. And yes, ultimately, you as the owner of the company, you're responsible for everything that happens in the company. But how do you give away the responsibility with the accountability so that it actually gets done and gets done well? And we're going to talk about that. So the first thing that we do is you write a list of all the things that you're doing. So right now, if you got a piece of paper, let's just do this. So just write down these things. You can pause it if you need to, but write down all the things that you're responsible for currently. You can do this with your team. Write a list of everything that you're responsible for. Once you have those things written down, then you need to start assigning them into these four categories. And so the delegation matrix looks at it this way. On the top, we have like, don't like. You can grab a piece of paper and just write this. Things that you like, things that you don't like, things over here, things that you're good at, and at the bottom, things that you're not good at. And so pause the video again if you need to, and take your list and categorize into those four columns, into the matrix. And then once you have it into the matrix, here's what we do with this information now. Now, when you're doing it by yourself, if you're wearing all the hats as a business owner, let's say you're a solopreneur and you're looking to hire somebody, this is good for you to know, like, what things are you neglecting or things that you're not good at? Because here's what we want to do ultimately with it. If you've heard the idea of the Pareto principle, and the Pareto principle is that it's the 80-20 rule, that 80% of things, 80% of your effectiveness, 80% of your sales, 80% of whatever comes from 20% of the effort, 20% of your salespeople, etc. And so we want to maximize your strengths and then be wise about the things that we need to let go. If you've heard me say it before, having the ability to automate, to delegate, and to eliminate. So what things can we automate? What can we delegate? What can we eliminate? So if you're building a team, let's say that you have a team. So I'm speaking to you. If you're a business owner, you've got a few people on your team already. I encourage you to do this exercise as a team, because when you do this exercise as a team, what you'll find is you're going to have people on your team that they may have things that they like and they're good at that are over here in this column for you. So let me go through these again and why it's important. Things that you like and that you're good at, this is your strength zone. Like, these are the things, if you like it and you're good at it, okay, how do you do more of that? Because my guess is you'll be more effective if you can do more of these things that you like and that you're good at, okay? Things that you like that you're not good at. This is probably a growth area, something that you're learning, that you want to get better at because you like doing it, okay? I'm not necessarily talking hobbies. I'm talking about things that are within the business, okay? And then over here, you've got things that you don't like that you're good at. And sometimes, especially in companies as it's growing, you might not like to do it, but you're good at it, which means you probably just have to do it. Or it's one of the things that it doesn't take you as much effort or energy as it would take somebody else, if that makes sense. So you might just need to be doing those things. But the column that I always want to focus on, or the part of the matrix in this, is this lower quadrant over here. Things that you don't like and that you're not good at. Things that you don't like and you're not good at, we need to do something with these things. We need to automate them if you can. We need to delegate them if you can, or you just need to eliminate them. It's amazing to me what happens when you do this with a team, because what you'll find a lot of times, again, if you do this exercise with your team, you're going to have things that you don't like, that you're not good at. Guess what? That's somebody else's strength zone. And so when you do this together as a team and you can look at all the notes with everybody, you can say, oh, well, this person really likes this kind of stuff, but it's sucking my soul dry because I hate doing these things. And so I'll pick on myself for a second. One of my strengths is I really like getting things off the ground. I really like the formulating of thoughts and big ideas and asking big questions. So I really like that part. Then when it gets to the minutia, the detail, and to be able to like do the last little bit, that is hard for me. So I'll pick on myself again. When I was writing this book, the framework, when I started writing the book, it was really fun. New project, big ideas, fun, developing characters, doing the whole thing. You know, I was fictitious company, fictitious characters, but they were hybrids of people that I actually knew, that I actually worked with. And so I put it all together. It was a lot of fun. And then when it was time to edit it, that started sucking my soul, because that is not a strength of mine, to bring it to that last piece of completion. And so if I look at that for myself, I say, okay, what are the things that I can delegate? How can I give this away? And so I had a bunch of people that were my editors for me. And they did the hard work of saying, your punctuation is wrong, those kind of things. I put that into the book, and the finished product is way better because I had a team look at it with me, and it wasn't just me doing it myself. I did this exercise with a group one time, and it was a bunch of people that were all owners in a company. And the one thing that all of them had in this lower quadrant over here that don't like, not good at, is they said accounting, accounting, accounting. And I said, well, why don't you hire an accountant? Because if it's taking a bunch of your time, you don't like doing it, and you don't feel that you're good at it, and you're not doing a good job there, then that is something that needs to be delegated. That's something that needs to potentially be hired for. So the three things that we're looking at is, one, is you're finding your strength zone, right? That's the first thing that we want to find from the delegation matrix. The second thing we want to find is, where on your team currently do you have strengths that are not being utilized the way that they could be? So that's the second thing. And then the third thing is, let's say that you have a small team, or you're growing into it, or you find a position like I talked about with the accounting. Let's say you find a position that you say, okay, we don't have thing, we're going to have to deal with it, but then how do we grow into that? And this is kind of neat because it also can help develop your hiring path, right? So you can say, what is the next hire that I want to have on my team? And if everybody in that case, everybody said we don't like accounting, great, then your next hire should probably be an accountant. And so you can grow your team that way. So what do you do with the information once you have it? You've got this delegation matrix, you've gone through this exercise. Now what do we do as a team? Next thing that we do is we put this into the roles and responsibilities chart. Okay, here is a fictitious roles and responsibilities chart. I always tell people that there's three main functions of every company: sales, marketing, people that make promises; operations, people that do the work; and then finance, people that make sure that you don't go broke. So you have sales, operations, and finance. Now, again, if you are running a company by yourself, you're wearing all those hats. And so with a delegation matrix, it helps you realize, okay, these are things I'm not very good at. I might not be very good at the marketing side. Great. That could be something that you can delegate. That's something that you can hire out. I might not be very good at finance. Great. That's something you can delegate, you can hire out. But let's say that you have a team of people. Let's say you've got a team of 12 that is working with you right now. And you realize that there are people on your team that they may be down here in operations somewhere, but they have an accounting degree. Okay? Figure out what are the specific roles of this of the role of finance. What are the specific responsibilities that role has? Does the finance role usually does payroll, accounts receivable, accounts payable, HR paperwork? There's a lot of things that go into finance, but what are the things? And you list those things out. You just say, okay, what are the top 5 things? And I wouldn't go bigger than that. I wouldn't have your laundry list. This isn't developing the job description necessarily. It's just highlighting what are the top 5 key responsibilities that person is responsible for. And then how do we create metrics and hold them accountable to that? So sales and marketing, pretty straightforward, right? Usually you're responsible for sales. You're responsible for lead generation. You're responsible for marketing, for brand image. You're responsible for closing deals. Depending on the type of industry you're in, that's what sales and marketing does, right? You're out there and you're making promises and you're signing deals, you're getting new contracts, you're getting new clients, okay? The operations piece, well, okay, if you're in the construction world, it's going to be very different than if you're in the software world. But for a fictitious company, you've got different levels of operations, right? You've got, in this case, I'm just using a fictitious construction company, let's say. So you've got your operations component, you've got your operations manager, You have project managers, and those project managers have crews. And these CLs, these are your crew leads. And then there's 3 people in a crew, right? You're just creating this hierarchy. It's not like it's rocket science. It's an org chart that is listing out the responsibilities for each of the roles. And when you do that with the delegation matrix and you say, these are all the things that we do, and you can say, okay, these are the things that we're weak in, again, it shows the next hire potentially that you need to have for your team to help your team grow to the next level. Once you have the roles and responsibilities chart listed out and you put in the key responsibilities for each role, so we call it the roles responsibilities, you've got the roles, you've got the responsibilities, then the next thing that you need to do with this chart is anybody that is that has people that are reporting to them, so the direct reports, like a manager. We call this MCL. One of the key responsibilities for these roles, so I'm going to pick on this role here, this operations manager. One of the key roles that he has is MCL. It's an acronym. It stands for mentor, coach, lead. Mentor, coach, lead. So mentoring people. This is being able to pour into them, giving them information, helping them with things that they don't know. The coaching. This is drawing the best out of people, saying, okay, pushing them, challenging them to step up to the plate a little bit more, take on more responsibilities maybe. And then leading, saying, this is the direction, this is where we're going, let's charge the hill. And so once you have the delegation matrix done, you're then able to take the weaknesses that you have, formulate the team, and then put people in roles that make sense based on their strengths. Now, I always need to have this caveat. When you build the roles and responsibilities chart, you're not building it to the team. The delegation matrix just informs you what the strengths are of your team. You build the roles and responsibilities for what the company needs. Not today, what the company needs between now and the next 1 to 2 years. So you build that out and you say, what is the company going to need in the next 1 to 2 years? And what does that need to look like? And so if you say, okay, we know that we need these 3 things, the sales, marketing, the operations, and the finance roles, okay, then what do the operations components need to look like? Once you have all those things laid out in front of you, you say, this is the structure that we need to build our company into the future. Once you have those things formulated, then you can start saying, who is going to be a fit for this role? Let me give that example. So let's say we're talking, we do the delegation matrix, and we find that accounting is something that these people up here don't like to do. But the owner's been doing it because, right, he's responsible for it. And then you realize that there's somebody down here that is a crew lead that they actually went to school for accounting. They just happened to be working as a crew lead because they didn't know that there was a position open. You didn't either until you created the roles and responsibilities chart. So you forget about the people on your team first and you say, what is the structure we need? Structure first. Once you have the structure figured out and you say, okay, finance, what are the things that we need in the finance role? Okay, accounts receivable, accounts payable, HR paperwork, payroll. And you say, okay, reporting, potentially, financial reporting. And then you say, okay, these are the things that we need in this role. And these are the responsibilities for this individual. You say, okay, who could fill that role in your team right now? Then you say, oh, Bill. We'll call him Bill. Bill has a degree in accounting, and he has told me that he would love to be an accountant for our team at some point in the future. Again, you may not have the ability today, but you say, really? Bill could be that guy for us? Potentially. So then you say, okay, these are the roles that we have. These are the responsibilities that we have. Bill could potentially fill that role. How do we backfill Bill? That's a tongue twister. How do we backfill Bill's position? How do we backfill his position with maybe one of these people on the team that could step up and become a crew lead once you understand what the responsibilities of a crew lead are? And again, this is pretty basic stuff, but it's amazing to me how many companies don't do this, or they haven't done it yet. But as your team grows, you need to have some very clearly delineated responsibilities for every position in there. Again, I'm not talking like the depths of the job description. I'm just saying, what are the things that you need to do? in operations, if you're working in operations, you need to be able to do the work, whatever the work is. It could be a customer support center phone person. It could be somebody that's digging ditches, right? It doesn't matter what the function is. You have to have the roles figured out first, structure first, list the responsibilities for each of those roles, and then see who from your team, based on the strengths from the delegation matrix, could you potentially fit into these roles so your company can move into the future.